Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn Podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys? And this is like the sickliest year that we have ever had, dodging all these like absences and oh man, I just want to.
Hey, to be fair, my sickness that I had last week was at least a good sickness to have, in the fact that I had my first shot of vaccine, and that was what was left over. So,
well, yeah, I saw that fall. It's okay.
Don't worry, you're gonna hear
Yeah.
that. Sorry about that.
No, you're not gonna hear it because I'm gonna edit that out because it was incredibly loud. Oh.
Nice. It was only on my side, so you guys didn't hear nothing.
No, I think our illness stuff has come from the fact that we now have a child in daycare, and so we're hitting that first, like, he's never been around people, so he's around people and he catches everything, and then we get it. So I think that's what's happening with us.
yep.
Yeah.
You know, fun times. And then next week,
Especially in pandemic world, right? Because nobody goes anywhere. So like, then you congregate between each other, and it's like, oh look, this is how disease spreads again. I get it.
Yeah, it's like we've decided to cut off the big one, and all these little ones that are just kind of biding their time, waiting for us to get back together. They're like, oh yes, it's our time to strike again. Like, no, I don't want it.
and then next week is Easter. We will not have a show next week because we're obligated to. Basically, we're not obligated to anything, but our child is. So, you know, so we won't be here next week either. We'll just every other weekend, I guess. At this point, is what it feels like.
Ironically, it's also our anniversary too.
Yeah.
13 years since we met.
Yeah.
So 13 years. Oof.
I feel old. Thanks. So what games has everybody been playing this week?
I was in my 30s. I've played through a few. Of course, I've been still on the Call of Duty grind doing that, which is they introduced a new gun. Well, they didn't introduce a new gun. It's a new skin for a gun that's already in the game, which I had to get just because I was like, okay, it looks kind of cool. And I'm probably not the only person that did this, but they did a really cool thing with it, which is basically it looks like a dragon on the outside of it, and then at the end where the barrel comes out is like this bright blue, kind of glowy blue look. So it's very Game of Thrones look to it. But
Never heard of that.
If you go to examine the gun literally has wings that come out, and it kind of floats in front of you to examine. It's really cool to watch. I was like, all right, that's has no practical use in the game, but it's neat to see. And it's a gun that I use, so I'm cool with that too. But so I did that. I last week, while I wasn't feeling well, I actually picked up a couple games off of Game Pass to play, just to kind of chill out. One is Journey to the Savage Planet, which is a beautiful game, like colors wise. There's a lot of really good colors in it. It's got kind of the game doesn't have an 80s feel, but the colors do, if that makes sense to you. All those bright, vibrant colors from the 80s. And then the humor that's in it's really nice too. It's got it basically, they have like these videos that play inside of your ship that are just like so cheesily done, but they're like real videos done. They're not, characters from the game. They're just real people acting and doing all that stuff. And then when you get out into the world, the animals that they've created are really cute, and some of them are really cute and really violent. And some of them are really
Nothing
cute
like
and
violence.
not so violent, but you need to kill them in order to be able to get resources. So they kind of put you in these different worlds. My children's favorite creature is this one. It's got two heads. It looks like a chicken with two heads. That's the best way I can describe it. And it goes running around, and as soon as it sees you, it just screams and goes running off. And you just hear this, ah! And then it's, ah! Back the other direction. And it's so hilarious because it's screaming because it goes, you hear the narrator say, I think it thinks you're going to kill it, because you are. Like that, because you want to get the stuff from it. But you can scan them and find out different things from it. It's really brilliantly written. I think the way that the game is designed, because it gives you a little bit of mystery. There's quite a bit of platforming in the game, so if you're not a person that does first-person shooting or an FPS version of platforming or any type of platforming, not that great, I probably would not recommend. And then, but the game itself is beautiful. And it's free on Game Pass. Well, included with Game Pass. And then the other one I've played is Spiritfarer, which is up for a lot of indie games of the year and stuff. And I started playing it just because I wanted something that was kind of casual and relaxed. And I'm really hooked on this game. It is, you play a girl named Stella, and her cat named Daffodil. And basically, Sharon, the person that was supposed to be the fairy of the dead, like the actual ship captain of it, retired, and you took over the job, and now your job is to go through the world and pick up the spirits, if you will, and you have to build your boat and create amenities for them to enjoy it. And to me it's really well done because it's got kind of aspects of different stuff, and all the people you pick up, they look like spirits when you first pick them up, but then when they get on your boat, they change into an animal of some sort. Where Stella's an actual person, and then Ferdinand's literally a cat. Like, there's no talking cat, nothing. It's literally plays with a ball the whole. Yeah, it plays with a ball the whole time that you're there, and it's like, I'm not even a cat fan. I'm like, this is cute. This is great. This is adorable. And so, but it's really well done. It's something that's casual. So if somebody's really wanting to pick up something that's casual. Again, free. There's fishing in the game, so if you're a big fan of fishing in games, there's fishing in the game. Fishing, cooking, gardening. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a Stardew Valley thing without having to put all the different plots and do all the stuff that you normally would do, and you're on a boat and moving from place to place. So it is fun, very relaxing, and so I recommend that one too. And if you got kids and you're looking for a game for them to play, I don't see a problem with this one at all. And it might be one of those to where I'm guessing, based on the way that the game is set up, that it's probably trying to show how people can kind of help with grief from loss and things like that. I think is how the game is going to go. I'm, again, not too far in it, just a couple hours, maybe 3, but I'm thinking that's where it's going to lead toward, which is kind of cool as well, because I think that's a subject matter that a lot of people have problem discussing. And then I also played Outriders, because since it's going to be free on Game Pass for Xbox, instead of doing PC and paying $60 for the game, which I would have done because I enjoyed the game and I did all the grinding during the demo, I now have to start the demo on Xbox because none of the information transfers over. But so we did that on Saturday, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. But that's what I got.
Well, this week it was my first trip to Nex in WoW for like this group alliance that we're trying out with this other guild, and it's going really smooth. When it was just our guild, we got 2 bosses down in one night and thought we were doing a really, really good job. We cleared 10 bosses in 2 nights with this guild.
Wow.
So it's a little different. I mean, to be fair, they have technically done all of the legwork that we didn't do, which was they've already, they've been in progression for quite a while. They've been in Nax for a while. It's just that with, like our guild too, we just had a lot of people fall out for this reason, that reason, whatever. And so they were short some people, even though they were doing fairly well. And they're like, hey, you guys want to come along? And we're like, yeah, sure. Man, it's crazy to see what happens when somebody is that level of organized, because the guy that's putting all of this together, his name is Falnix, is like, he's got like spreadsheets and like documents and all of these, like he looks at everybody's numbers and crunches everything. Like he can tell you everything about your character that you didn't know. I'm like, that's borderline creepy, but I mean, it gets the job done real well.
You met the WoW nerd. That's
I mean,
what
he, just to give you an understanding. This guy is like low key version of that. There are people out there that do this kind of information and are extremely hardcore with it. Like they will come to you and be like, "You're doing this bad. You need to fix this, or you're out."
Yeah.
And then they will watch next week. If you do not fix it, you're done. You basically get benched. But he's much more like.
Here's
the
a
best way I
problem
like to describe
Let's see if
it.
we can fix it, you know?
He's organized but not strict. Like he will show you what you're doing, and then it's up to you to fix it. There's a lot of personal responsibility with him. It's like, all right, this I'm giving you all of the information that you could ask for. Now do better with it. Which, I mean, we have a really, really solid group of people that run this, which it's so nice.
It definitely felt a bit more high pressure to me at the start, but then, like, once I got into it, I was like, oh, okay, basically this is just giving, like, for us healers, it's really giving us a chance to excel because we're not running into moments where it's like, spam heals on everybody, okay, he's dead, spam heals on the next, he's dead, spam heals on the next guy, he's dead too. Like, we're not running into that as much as, like, you can actually play your class because everybody relatively knows what they're doing, and that's not a punch at our guild. It's just that these people have been doing this a lot longer than our guild got a chance to. So we could have been at a similar level. It's just we didn't get the opportunity. So they're there, and we're coming into this, you know, in progress thing. But it was crazy to see some of that content and how quickly it went down. Like Patchwork was one that our guild had tried. And that's heavily dependent on your tanks and heals, and we just got crushed. This guild, they were like, we'll talk about it for a little while before we go and actually pull this guy. Everybody's got world buffs. We're, you know, maxed out for the most part as to what we could have on us. And it went so smooth. Like, one attempt and the guy was dead, and it was just... for the healers, like, for us the first time around, it was just a manic panic. Just cast everything that you've got and try not to, run out of mana or anything. This time I was like, I'm just going to put some bubbles on some people because I don't have anything to do because the tank I'm assigned to is not taking damage. Like, it was, honestly, for the healers, I think most of us were like, we're bored. What can we do now?
I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
Though. It's like,
it really
when
is.
you're stacked... and you don't have to feel that constant oppressive pressure that if you mess up at any moment, it's just it. Like, I mean, because the first boss we did on the second day is extremely dangerous. He's very snowbally. Basically, you fuck up a little bit, and he literally just starts slashing your raid into pieces very quickly. But, I mean, they were, after we finished it, they're like, wow, that was the smoothest we've ever done that boss. I was like, mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we came in super prepared, super ready. Like I was very anxious, like getting ready for that guy, but I mean, we all did our jobs like we were supposed to, and we smashed him.
And I was worried a lot about is it Hagen? Is that the one that has the safety dance? I was worried a lot about that fight because with that fight. Basically, during the first round of it, I don't have to do anything. There's a platform that all your healers and casters stand on, and all of the melee and the tanks are running around the room with the boss. And the thing with the room is it's divided into 4 sections. I mean, not clearly. It's not like you can see it. But these 4 sections will have this, like, green goo come up out of the floor. And it's called the safety dance because you have to move back and forth with the boss. And then when it's everybody, that is, like, 2 times faster. And the first time I did, like, the raid wiped on the first attempt because we had too many that failed on the safety dance, and I was one of them. I was, like, a split second too slow on a turnaround, and it got me. But the second time I did it, and I have not felt that level of accomplishment in that game in a while. Like, it felt so good that I did not mess it up, and I was alive, and things went well. It was so cool.
I almost feel like, based on what y'all are discussing, like there's almost needs to be, and maybe there is, and I don't know, just because I'm dealing with this, but it sounds like to me, like if I'm looking for a guild to get into, there almost needs to be like, we're a silver level tier guild, which means we're this level of organization and things like that, but we're not gold, and we're not in like where you get to like platinum or diamond or some shit like that. That's going to be your militant style. You either get here and you do your job or you're going the fuck home type thought process, right? So that way you kind of know what you're getting into when you get there.
There isn't ways to tell, like, when people
that
are
way there's a
recruiting.
learning curve and people are, You know what I mean?
But when people are recruiting
Yeah,
for guilds, like if there's going to be an application process, you know it's probably a hardcore guild. If you have to put in an app, they're probably a hardcore guild. If you don't, if people are advertising their guild as a family guild, it means we're a dad guild. You want to come play some games and, you know, screw around. That's us. And that's kind of where we are as a guild. Like, we're a dad guild, but a dad guild that wants to clear content.
I think part of our problem is that some of our folks are bronze style players, so to say.
See?
And
Look, see?
I like that analogy. Like, some of us are like bronze difficulty. That we just kind of like to be casual about it. And I would probably say the Alliance, we're more or less tiered with a silver style because they're organized, but they're not strict.
Yeah.
Like, they like to look at logs and like progress, but they're not gonna come down on you with like the hammer. They're a little bit more casual than that. And that's kind of like, I could see we're gonna have a kind of different opinions when the next expansion comes out, because some people in our guild, and I know some people are listening to the podcast, some people want a more bronze style where we more or less focus on the people, and some people want to go a little bit more silver where they want to focus on the content. So
I mean,
we're gonna have to see how we split when it comes time to make
So
decisions.
you need like brass. Is what you mean.
well,
you
the thing is with Burning Crusade, it's 25-man raids is your biggest raids, and right now it's 40. So we have a lot of people that are going to be coming back. We have people we have like a core 20 to 30 that have kind of stuck around. So we'll probably have plenty to have at least 2 raid groups, and so we really can kind of go, okay, what's your level of ambition here? Do you want to be in the silver raid or do you want to be in the bronze raid? Like, and you know, kind of how you've acted in the past and how things have gone with you in the past will also dictate which raid group you get put in, things like that. Like, it's neat looking from this guild, looking forward to the next expansion and how we're going to have to treat our guild with respect to raiding. Because next expansion's got, like, to get into one of the raids, you got to do all of these dungeons, and then once you've done these dungeons, you've got this quest chain that you got to do, and then this raid you have to finish and do this to get to this raid, and, like, there's a lot of people will be weeded out based on who's going to be willing to go through all of this to get to the next one. And I think that's going to be interesting to see,
I
too.
plan on, like, kind of leaning more towards silver style, because I want to have people that I can rely on and actually, because play
content.
the game. Because, I want to clear content again. I like seeing this other side of raiding is great. I love it. And it was okay for me when we were doing, previous to Nax, which is the last one. AQ got a little difficult, but our numbers started sliding. But
once we started backsliding in progress is where I really started hitting a wall. And a lot of other people did too, which is why they left. So hopefully we won't run into that in Burning Crusade if we can kind of figure out beforehand where interests lie and things like that. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
But I think that's I like the idea though of having the different tier, because of the fact you have less people that have to be there for the raid itself. You having the option to be able to, where are you? Okay, here's this raid group. Here's this. Hey, silver, we've got a couple people from bronze that aren't going to be able to make it. Do you want to come help out? Whatever. And then maybe you know that there's going to be some people in silver that aren't going to be able to make it for whatever it happens to be. So you look over the numbers on bronze and you can go, okay, this person and this person, will invite those two and maybe they'll be able to make our raid. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah. And I think one of the main thing is going to be like attendance, because I see the same thing happening in TBC, is that people are going to get burned out again and are going to start jumping ship again, and then some of the raid groups are going to be left understaffed again, and then we're going to run into the same problems, which is why I'm going to be, because I'm one of the raid leaders, so I get to kind of put my group together, and it's going to be people, because I don't have much of a connection to these folks, short of raiding for the last year together and a little bit of a personal connection. So I can kind
connections very well. I'm like, I love all of these people and not those people because they are reasons.
It lets me make more educated decisions on them, because I try not to have like a really personal connection, so I don't hurt feelings. It's like, it's not personal.
You're gonna hurt feelings whether you care for them or not.
Yeah,
that's
it's
fine.
No matter whether they care for you,
but they know it's not personal. It's if any word has to describe it, it's professional. It's It's like, this isn't personal for me.
But I don't play
this.
games to be professional. That's probably the way they look at it as well.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's our different ideologies, because there are a lot of people that do play games to play the game over the people.
I think this is where Chicken and I balance each other out, because I am more personal connection. As much as I am like standoffish and, you know, antisocial and things like that, I do form connections over long periods of time. And there are a lot of our guildies that I've formed like attachments to, strong attachments, you know, some stronger than others and things like that. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but there is a point, you know, even with your friends and whatnot, where you've got to be like, look, this is how things are going to go. This is what's got to happen. You're not putting forth this, and this. And if you'll change this, we can talk about it later. It's not personal. It's not because we're not friends anymore. It's just because we can't carry, you know, and things like that. And that's Chicken is all on it's all about the numbers and you just got to get out. And I'm like, well, at least let me put the kid gloves on and talk about it.
Get out. It's are you reliable? Like, can I count on you as a player?
No.
Because just because some people, you know, some people are extremely unreliable does not mean that they are completely cut off. Like, I understand that, you know, you got things going on in real life, and that's perfectly fine. It's just, did you just abandon us? Did you just be like, all right, I'm ghosting, peace, and dip out? Like, absolutely not. You do not get to be like, oh, I'm back, here we go, open up the door, walk in, get a spot. It's like, it's not how it works. Sorry, but that's just how it is. I'm
sure we'll be having that officer meeting soon. But as far as next this week goes, I will say one of the things that I laughed about it last night because Chicken was looking at our logs and he's like, how many bubbles do you think you cast? Because priests have a bubble that absorbs damage. And a lot of people go, I'm not using that. I'm going to heal damage. That's what I do. I'm a healer. And it's like, well, okay, but none of you are using this. I'm going to do it because it's damage that you don't have to waste your mana on healing if I absorbed it. So I throw bubbles like nobody's business. And I'm one of the few priests that does. And he's like, how many do you think you did? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, Benediction used 89. How many do you think you did? And I was like, I don't know, like 100 and something. No, it was like 430. I was like...
That's one of the things... That's one of the things I like about the spreadsheet is because it breaks down what everybody does. And then you could kind of see your place in there. Like with her, she cast more renews, which is a heal over time on people. She cast it like 8 times more than the next person and cast more, like 8 times more bubbles than the rest of the people too. So her niche is she bubbles people's and she renews. And she does it really well. So she fits a slot into that.
I just found the thing that wasn't being used and used it because nobody else was.
And the thing is you use it well. Like, you are able to still hold up to numbers so that you are reliable in that sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is, you just kind of, that's why I like being able to look at the numbers like that.
Part of it's just personal preference. I just like, 1, I like the sound the bubble makes when you apply it, and 2, I just imagine that it's air conditioned.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say something about a sound. That is
it's like a little happy bubble sound. It's like you're protected.
If there's a happy sound, whether something works or not, she's going to use it most likely just because of the sound.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't use it if it wasn't effective, but it is effective, and I do enjoy it on several levels. So I'm like, bubble, bubble, bubble. And I will wait, too. I'm like, who's got the debuff? Okay, yours is about to wear off. Here's another one. Like, because you have to wait for it to go away. So I stay on top of that. But I know if I was just casting heals, I'm not gonna have anything to do because we've got a lot of paladins. Their heals are not supposed to be faster, but I swear they're just like 2 seconds ahead of me every time. So
yeah, it's a latency thing. But we can sit here and talk about WoW for the rest of the day, but this is not a WoW podcast.
My bubbles. Oh, I mean that's what I did this week. That and Cyberpunk. So.
Okay.
I played a lot of Cyberpunk, but y'all don't want to hear about that again.
What about you, Baka? What have you played?
I did a little bit of work with you guys and some more Pokemon Sword.
Have you made it? How many badges you got now? Oh wait, they're badges still, right? I know they're...
Well, they call them badges, but like when you get each one, it goes into this circle thing, and it eventually fills it up.
So it's more like a wheel. You gotta get a wheel of passes.
It's like the Trivia Pursuit little...
Yeah, that's it.
The little Trivial Pursuit pieces.
It's like little puzzle pieces, basically.
You can't hit the final boss until you have all the pieces.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But I got all the little badges.
Oh, nice. So you're ready to move on to the Elite Four? Or is it something different now?
It's not an Elite Four. It's
the Super Special
you
7.
Fight four of the trainer, the gym leaders again. They do an elimination tournament in an arena. So, like, you fight one of the gym leaders, and they're fighting amongst each other.
Now you have an arena battle? What?
Fight.
So, like, if you win, then you move up in to go to the next spot, and it keeps going until you hit the last one, and then when you do that, then you go beat the current champion. Is what it's supposed to be, but now you're getting sidetracked with something else in the story because it got interrupted.
That's
weird.
It's weird. That is weird. I really do like the Pokemon League style where, you know, you beat all 8 of the gym masters and then you go into the, you know, the final 5 where they're the league champions instead of a tournament style. I don't know. I guess the you know, you have to beat 5 trainers. Do you get to heal or regen your Pokemons after each tournament battle?
Pokemons.
Through each fight, yeah.
Yeah, see, that seems kind of dumb to me, because part of the challenge was beating all of the trainers in a row.
Well, you also have to remember that they've made this game a lot easier for kids.
Yeah, they do the XP share and healing after. I guess they did make it a lot more casual. Well, I'm just still waiting for my Pokemon Let's Go Johto. One day I'll get it. One day.
I know we want to get to the news, but I got to tell this one story to make Baka feel better. Because last night we were playing Ark, and we were looking for dinosaurs. We're trying to put together an army so that we can go fight the first boss and whatnot. So we need a bunch of ones that we can just throw away. And there was a beach where we found a T-Rex that we wanted, but it also had like 4 Alpha Raptors and a pack of Allosauruses and whatnot. And so we're trying to take them out. And it was me and my sister and Chicken, and Baka's not there. He had to go AFK. And Red was like across the map in the mountains because he's a mountain man hermit. And we're doing all this stuff. And did you fall off of your bird, or how did you get off of the bird to start with? You were on the ground at one point screaming at my sister to pick you up with her bird. And
I got down because I told Joaz to lure them away so I could set traps. Yeah, you did. And I was setting the traps. I go 1, 2,
you can tell how salty
3.
he is already.
Oh, yes. And because it takes a second for the large bear traps to activate. So I was like, all right, I'm setting them down. And then I see her ass flying back towards me going, why? Why are you bringing them back to me? And my traps aren't set yet. One fucking runs in, and then the trap activates after the first one passes me. The other 2 are not active. And I'm like, oh, well, pick me up before they kill me. It traps
he was yelling
the
at
other
my
one.
sister to pick him up because I was still down the beach with the Alpha Raptors. It was not me coming back. That was my sister.
No, I told you, because all the Alpha Raptors were dead, that is why we were getting ready to start trapping these. And I told you to distract them while I set the traps.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they stopped following you for some reason.
Because they
came back after me.
Like, it's not an actual leash, but they do. Their attention span is the leash. It's like that T-Rex last night that you guys were trying to pull up the mountain. They only follow you for a second before they're like, shiny! And then they're just gone.
That's why the other 2 Allosauruses, I literally stood on a rock and they just sat there for like 25 minutes staring at the rock waiting for me.
Well, regardless,
they don't have an attention.
My sister couldn't pick him up, and I was trying to grab him. And at one point I did, and he's like, put me on this rock. And I was like, all right. So I let him go on top of the rock. And on my screen, it dropped him right down on top of the rock, and then he was off. Like, he, slid off of it. And he's yelling at me about not putting him on the rock and to get him again because these things are trying to kill him. And then it goes from yelling for me to, I wish Baka was here. Baka needs to come help me do this. Baka's gonna have to do this. Baka, and I'm like, if I hear his name one more time...
this fool like misses out on critical bits of information. It's like she just like omits parts of the story. She grabs me the first time, and I tell her to set me on the rock. She misses the rock, or I slide off because there's a lag when you drop somebody.
Yeah.
That's why you have to become stationary. You cannot move while dropping somebody.
You were yelling for me to drop you on the rock. You were on the rock. I did what you fucking said. I'm sorry. Like, I did what you asked.
First rock. She misses me the first time, and then she grabs me again. I'm like, all right, cool. Now set me on the rock. She got me on the rock the second time, but because they were on her tail, one of them jumps up and hits me and knocks me off the rock, and then I die. So, fair enough on the second one, because you did land me on the rock. The first time, you did not land me on the rock.
I did, on my screen. And like you said, sometimes there's a little bit of lag difference between player to player, and for whatever reason, like on my screen, you dropped on the rock and then slid off. On your screen, you did not.
There's probably zero ping between the two of us. I am literally connected to the same
then
modem.
I don't understand. I cannot tell you any different. I wasn't recording it.
It's because you were moving.
But then he's, like, for the next 10 minutes is yelling for Baka, who is AFK. And that's why I was like, I finally pinged him in Discord because I was just tired of hearing Chicken complain about it. I was like, get him back here. Apparently, we're not good enough. We're going to have Baka, who is amazing at everything, to come and hold your hand. So, Baka, you're amazing at everything.
Really good, but well, anytime we try to use the trap method, we always end up reverting to just me carrying him on Petrie.
Which, to be fair, our trap method worked pretty good the second time. Like, it worked fine when we trapped him, and then that damn one was just sprinting from one side of the map to the other, trying to get him to get back to where we could tame him. But to be fair, me and Baka have been did the damn pterodactyl strat for years. We did it when we played Ark back in the day. We've got years of experience.
You know what could have solved a lot of this problem then? Hey, Grif, why don't you go back to the base and grab a pterodactyl that can carry me? Did that ever happen? Nope, sure didn't. Not once.
Because you nor your sister are willing to do that. And I have said that before, that if we want to do the double gun strategy, we need 2 flyers and 2 shooters, and neither you nor your sister trust yourself. No, I said I didn't want to be the shooter in that, because I have terrible accuracy when I am being dangled from a bird. I didn't say I wouldn't fly you, and you didn't ask. So
that's the issue. Is neither one of them wants to be the shooter.
To be fair, it takes nothing to shoot, especially like because Baka's a decent flyer. You can literally stand right above the dino and just shoot it in its face. Like you don't even have to aim.
You heard that Baka is a decent flyer. Baka is now your partner in crime.
Yes, that is why we always tame things together.
I will go and I will chop trees for you, and that's it.
That's also why we play a lot of games together as well. But
we have a lot of synergy built up over the last decade and some change.
I wish that there was someone that had been recording that, just so that, Baka, you could like save that and make yourself feel better. Anytime you were feeling sad, just hear Chicken panic for you. It was wild.
Why don't you and your sister go out and get on a pterodactyl with the gun and go practice your flying shooting?
Because we don't want to waste the resources like that.
Use a bow. It's so easy to make stone arrows.
Okay, let's talk about some news. Because I will be here all day literally yelling at you about this.
We do this all the time, people. So if you want a real taste of how me and Grif are, this is it. And everybody has seen us.
That's the reason I'm sitting here laughing the whole time, because I know how they are. And this shit's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. 13 years together next Sunday. So and we love it, too. Like, we're both hot-tempered. But it never, ever bleeds on into our relationship.
This is literally 2 rocks banging each other.
Oh my god.
You're both so stubborn.
And that's why people love our relationship too, is because we can do that, but at the end of the day, we're perfectly fine.
Is it weird that my first thought was it's kind of like the Thing and the Hulk fighting each other, and just whichever one gets tired first.
Yeah. But the problem is that neither of us ever get tired enough to give up.
Oh my god!
I shouldn't have said that. Now they're going to argue over who's who.
Let's talk about some news stuff.
I vote Grif for the Hulk.
Thanks.
The anger.
Yeah, I can see that. What do we want to talk about first, though?
All right.
What we got here?
Since we talked about, I played Outriders this weekend.
Yes.
The Outriders developer is promising that they're going to do something interesting with people that have cheated. So their HUD is going to actually be watermarked that they are a cheater.
So if you're trying to post your videos on YouTube looking like you're so cool, we're all gonna know that you cheated.
So there's that. I think it's brilliant.
We can see
On
you
so
all.
many
Yes,
levels.
even the person who gave themselves 600 legendary weapons. Did you think when you gave yourself that number of legendaries that nobody would notice?
Yeah, because here's the thing: is they're hard to drop.
I
They're not easy to
mean,
drop.
even other players would be like, "You have more than like 3? That seems weird." I don't know. I
don't understand why you would get 600 of them, because you can only use 3 at a time technically, and you can't share them. So it's not like you can sell them to somebody or something like. 'Cause you can't drop weapons.
I guess you just want to
I
make
guess
it
you could.
cool.
I guess you could sell them. I guess you could sell them in game, but even then, you're capped in the demo how much you can get money wise. So maybe they're trying to do it because they can carry over, and then that cap would be gone.
Maybe, probably.
But they're
Something like that. Or just to see if they could.
maybe.
So some of the things that you can cheat with though is really concerning. Like, okay, what counts as cheating in Outriders? Issued a list. Intentionally running the game on PC without easy anti-cheat. Okay, fine.
disabling your
That's kind
cheat
of one of those
system, yeah.
things where you're disabling their anti-cheat system. Fine. Modifying game files to enhance a character, levels, skills, inventory, etc. That's a huge problem because that means your character is saved your side instead of server side, which gives
yeah, I
people
hadn't thought about that.
easy access to your character files. That's a no-no if you're going to play an online game. Second is externally modifying game time to reduce time-dependent features such as vendors and challenge. Again, what are you thinking? Why are you putting that information on player side? That shit should be server side. Like it should be manually controlled on the server.
The thought process behind it is save room, less storage space on their end, so it cut costs.
Huh.
I mean, but that's dangerous to like. I get that they're having like they got a decent cheat system like that, but I mean that's just. It's risky to kind of put that kind of information on the player side of things.
Well, but
using the trainer program, that's understandable. You know,
but I mean, basically, the game is
gameplay.
just a cooperative game anyway. So it's like it's just you playing through the plot line that's there. So it's not, other than the fact that you can invite your friends from other things. There's no PvP, at least that I know of. There's not currently right now at all.
I mean, then at what point does it matter? Like, does what cheating matter? If it's just a single player style game.
I think the aspect. Well, I'll give you an example of what happened to us yesterday. So our first load in to the game, old man decided to go ahead and run a new character just so he had another one that was built up, and then I was running the trickster because I needed to. So we start for the first part for our cooperative, and I forgot to put it on private. Literally, a guy that was a level 7 goes through and just drops everybody. One shot. Dropped everybody. So, and it was like, I was like, dude, man, we're trying to get our levels up. What is wrong with you? So it's like, so I made sure that I kicked him and then privatized the account. So I guess that's kind of the idea, is people just wanting to go through and making it like a cheat code, if you will, so they can go through and just annihilate everything because reasons. I don't know.
I also think part of the problem is because they have an end game style that they're looking for, and games like that should be ran, especially like long-term games with end game grinding and things like that, should be ran server side, like Anthem or Destiny or anything else. Everything is ran server side, where it's interesting that they decided to go with the PC side where they save everything on your end, and I guess they literally only use the servers to run the instances of the game. It's like
well, I mean, it's a P2P server.
Oh yeah, then absolutely. Then that's why it's so easy to cheat in a game like that. It will be rampant if it's that easy. as soon as the game comes out, people are going to figure it out.
And while the watermark thing is neat, I mean, it's only going to affect those who want to post their stuff online. People who don't post the things online aren't going to get.
Well, it depends on the watermark. If it's a full screen watermark,
yeah,
then it makes the game completely unplayable.
It also makes me wonder, like, how are they going to be able to, if it's peer-to-peer, how are they going to be able to limit how fast you get into hosted games? Because, I mean, if a lot of people start cheating, the matchmaking times are going to go way down because there's a shitload of cheaters, and then the people who didn't cheat.
But I also think it's waiting. Like, because right now they said it was what 0.1% or something like that of the people that were playing the demo actually got caught cheating.
0.01.
Yeah, and they didn't expect it to go much higher than that. So let's say even if it gets a 1% of what it is, your matchmaking is fine. I think where you run into a problem is when you're at like 20%.
Yeah, like as long as it stays low and cheating is difficult, I think you'll be fine. But because people are dumb and they like easy ways out, especially with games that you could cheat really easy in, and player run side games like this are pretty easy to modify. So we will.
My
see
thing
is
it won't affect anybody else if you've got people to play with. The only people it's really going to affect is those solo players, or even the duo players. Yeah. So, like, because you can play through the game solo if you wanted to.
But I mean,
yeah, because it seems like it's a solo style game.
Luckily, they're making it so that the people that are tagged as cheaters won't be queuing up with regular matchmaking folks anyway. They'll be playing with each other. So, all right, cool. Here's your OP stuff. Go and be OP together. All of your scenarios will take 2
Watermark
seconds.
crew. Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, I can guarantee you'll start seeing things like that, the watermark crew, because I mean, other than having the watermark, I mean, there's really no.
I'm telling you, if I put a watermark, it's going to be full screen. It is going to be the most annoying shit ever. It might even wave and blink at you or some shit, you know? I want it as annoying as hell. Oh, look, you cheated in literally a game you didn't need to cheat in.
It's almost like cheating in a single player game.
I mean, but it is if people do that.
Really
people run
is.
single player games with trainers and stuff all the time. It's not unheard of. It's weird to me. Why are you playing the game if you're going to download a program that'll essentially play it for you?
Yeah.
The what they said about it on the HUD, it will be discrete but visible watermark. So I don't think it's going to be something across their whole screen. It's probably going to be something by the character.
I wouldn't even make it discreet.
Yeah, I know, right? I would definitely like put a logo over their health bar and shit, to where you could kind of look at their health bar and you see a little like logo over the whole thing. It's like, huh? Okay, so this is one of those guys.
I am interested to see what the watermark says though. Like, is it gonna look like a brand, like an actual branding that you'd brand somebody? Like,
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I just think that if they would have ran things server side, but that's also going to be expensive and a long-term style of game. This seems like it's going to be more of a shorter style game where it's a single player game, and then they're going to release some end game stuff, and then you're going to be on your way. They're not looking to support it like Division or Destiny or anything like that.
Yeah, they said it's not going to be a games service, so I'm actually really happy about that, because I think that first of all we have so many, and
no shit.
And secondly, I think it's one of those where here's your money, take it, or Game Pass if you're doing it for free that way, and you play the game. You either like the game, you don't like the game, whatever it happens to be, but once you're done with it, you're done with it, or you can continue to grind through with your other characters and play with your friends, however you want to do it. They do have a cool little element too that's so at least this is the way it's set up in the demo, which is if you've already beat everything to get to level 7, you can literally go into the main menu and somewhat start the game over with your main character, like just with a higher world tier. Yeah, so like a Game Plus, right? So you go through but you can start at whatever level you want to on that, and that's where it's at in the plot line too. So certain things might be unlocked if you started, let's say, on level 3 versus level 1. Okay. Like vendors and stuff like that might be unlocked for you because you've already the game already thinks that you've already gone through that part of it. So, which is kind of neat because that way, that's what we ended up doing to get our world to World 5 Saturday, because we wanted to have at least one character maxed and the world maxed as high as you go as well. And I will tell everybody this though. Once you get to World 5, if you're playing solo, you might want to turn the feature off that automatically increases difficulty level. To worlds, like as you play through. So like once the main game's there, because it'll automatically shoot to World 6, World 7, World 8 as you unlock. And you might not be ready for that yet.
That comes out this week,
it got a little
doesn't
difficult on this.
It comes out Thursday.
All right, so that comes out
Yes.
Thursday, and then as far as
speaking as a games as service,
okay,
one of the games that just got delayed, they were planning on making it a game for service, which is Back for Blood, and it is delayed until
October 12th. So
Yes,
spooky month game.
I mean, to be fair, it is more thematic to fit you into October.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's 10 days before, isn't it like 10 days before Halloween too, right? So
Yep.
It's on the 12th.
Yeah.
Oh. so a little more than that.
Yeah, a little more.
My brain transposed to 21. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I get that.
Which I am perfectly fine. Dude, we have all had just about enough of these rushed to the end games. Just take your time. Do what you gotta do. Make it right when it comes out. They plan on doing, open beta?
Yeah, there's going to be a beta this summer.
Yeah, an open beta this summer. They're going to do another closed beta here soon, I assume. And anybody who had access to the closed alpha is going to automatically have access to the closed beta, which is nice. But yeah, take your time, do what you got to do, make sure the game works well. Hopefully that a lot of the feedback that they've gotten, that they're taking into consideration, like, First of all, don't break your community in half with DLCs that are going to split your community. Don't make the maps have to be bought and things like that. You could do costumes and cosmetics for your guns and shit like that, and that's okay. But do not split your community. Okay, just don't. That will kill your game. And
I mean, the best example is Sea of Thieves.
Yes.
Like,
holy shit. Like,
you can either buy cosmetics or not. You can buy the game or play it on Game Pass or whatever you want to do.
Yes. So, I mean, it's perfectly fine in my opinion for waiting. It's just make sure that it's right, and I hope this game can survive because I like multiplayer shooters like this, zombie shooters, and it's by Turtle Rock. Evolve was a lot of fun, as Baka can back me up on. It gives me that subtle head nod, yeah. And Left 4 Dead was super, super good. It created a whole genre of multiplayer shooter games, so.
Definitely.
One that Chicken's probably slightly excited about, which, by the way, you forgot to talk about finishing Ghost of Tsushima, which you can save that for next week because you'll be here for 3 hours, and we're already 45 minutes in.
All I'll say is Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best games that I have played. I will rank it up there. Way up there. Just a little backstory. I played Shadow of War right after that, and the combat just does not feel nearly as good as the sword combat. Like, I can go on. Just go ahead, Grif.
Well, the director of the John Wick movies has now announced that there will be a Ghost of Tsushima movie. So, I'm hoping that it will be awesome. I mean, I like the John Wick movies, and I watched Chicken play all of this game, so I think it's possible.
The top
I just
comment.
hope that they don't put Keanu Reeves in the lead role.
Yeah, they should probably cast it accordingly to 12th century Japan.
I'm sure they will.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure they will.
But that top
like
comment
6'5"
kills me.
white guy is not a good way to go with this. What?
Yeah, do you mean
12th century.
there wasn't a random white guy running around saving everything in 12th century Japan?
To be fair, the combat in John Wick is really good, and the way that it's shot and done, things like that. So I'm interested to see with swordplay and how it's done. And I'm hoping one of the aspects that I really hope is in there, other than bath time and a haiku at least once, is
do little subtle nods to the game.
Yeah, is the actual the part of the combat where you're literally standing there waiting on somebody. just a swipe or whatever. Just do it once. I'm fine with it, whatever. But it'd be so, and slow motion it. You gotta slow motion that whole part, and like everybody that knows anything about the game would just be absolutely just go ape shit because it's so good.
To be fair, if like they got the director of John Wick, and anybody who's watched the John Wick movies knows that the action part of those movies are so goddamn good. I don't know if it was because Keanu Reeves is so fucking good and takes his role so damn serious, or the director being able to put those shots together, or just a combination.
The fight choreography.
It's a combination.
So
It's the fight choreography. They've got one of the best fight choreographers.
Keanu for the role actually learned how to properly use guns and things like that.
Then that gives me so much hope that hopefully the director will take the same kind of nuance into the movie for this. Like, just give me everything that you did for John Wick into a game like this, and I will watch it over and over again. Just, oh, yes, please. I didn't know I needed this until I saw the tweet and was like, oh, I need that. Cool.
The thing about it is, to me, though, the only thing that everybody's got to understand, part of Ghost of Tsushima is the fact that it does have such a great plot line, along with everything else that's happening. John Wick, for as good as it is, doesn't have the best plot line on the planet. It's just an entertaining fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like the series that's there. So keep in mind, it might just be a really entertaining samurai movie. So it's like, just keep that in mind that this could be what we end up with. But
I mean, to be fair, the story of Ghost of Tsushima is super simple too. Like, I mean, like they got a lot of really good characters and some incredible world building around it, but the story is super simple. Kill the guy who invaded the island. Like, I mean, fight off the army that invaded your island. That's pretty much it. And you know, you go through the stages to get to that point. And I mean, John Wick's storyline is like, yo, go murder the dude who fucked you up, and he's like, all right, we're gonna murder everybody in like the whole world.
There's gonna be people that try to compare it to Mulan. I can already see that now.
Well, let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait to see them. I highly doubt we're gonna see it anytime soon. Give it like 3 or 4 years, I guess. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to go full authentic without, you know, CGI and shit. Like, lots of sword play. Because it's so critical for that time period. And I'm pretty sure that the director is just looking for permanent ambassadorship to Tsushima. So
Just going to move there, you know, whenever they can.
I mean, to be fair, the two people who made the game got permanent ambassadorship. I'm sure if this movie does really well, they'll be like, yeah, you come to Tsushima whenever you want. Free everything.
Free everything.
yay, free things.
Because Japan loves it when people talk about their history and show it and really do it justice. So if it does well, they will gladly bring them in too. Be like, yeah, come on over. Come hang out. You want to bring more people over? You know, more tourism? I want to go to Japan one day.
I know. We'll go at some point.
I have to.
In the vein of games that are making the jump to other mediums, there was more news on The Last of Us TV show, which will apparently, quote-unquote, deviate greatly from the game at some points. And I'm kind of wondering, like, now I'm like, would you say greatly? At which points are we discussing here? Because you've given us this, you know, really strong these really strong characters in this world and everything. Is it that we're going to see backstory that we didn't get to see in the game? Like, we're going to have flashbacks that we didn't get, which would deviate pretty big because we didn't get to see it? Or are we talking they will be completely different people at certain points? And it says at times. So I am like, is this going to be like a back and forth line? Is it just going to kind of cross in certain points with the game and then be its own thing? Or what is this thing?
I'm thinking I think because you're dealing with a different medium than you deal with the video games,
right.
and as he points out, it's one of those where, you know, you're having to try to teach people how to do the combat and all that, so you got a lot of action. There's not as much storyline that's there. I think especially when it comes to Last of Us, what happens 20 minutes in, where I cry every time, that particular part that's there, I think there's going to be more of a build before that. I think what ends up happening in the world, like the actual start of the zombie apocalypse part of that, I think you're going to have more of a build. I think you have 1 or 2 episodes before you actually get to the part that for them trying to escape from the town. And I think it's going to be one of those when everybody goes, "Oh my God, did you watch episode 3?" You know what I mean? I think it's going to be one of those type things.
I think they'll do that in one episode where it'll be like an hour long, where you kind of, if people who haven't played the game are going to like get this whole episode of story building, and at the end you literally just get hooked right in the face, and you're like, okay, that's not exactly where I thought
you know
this was
what?
going.
It could be. Here's the thing. You might be right, but it might be where because we don't know what happens to Joel
Like for
before
20
he gets
years.
home. Well, no, we don't know what he does before he gets home.
Oh yeah, I guess
Because
that's true.
he was out of the house, and so you got his daughter walking around the inside of the house and everything else, and then shit starts going sour, right? So it could be to where you see him going to work for the day, you know, you have the whole birthday scene, all that stuff,
Real
and then
casual
like
stuff.
you see what's going on with him, and then now you can tell the story differently. Instead of telling it from the girl's point of view, you can tell it from his point of view on what's happening, or show both at the same time, back and forth. Him struggling as a father, trying to get back to his daughter, his daughter trying to figure out what's happening and all that type of stuff. And then
I almost wonder though if we skip that, if we start at the 20 years later with Joel and Tess, we pick up there.
That would be
and
terrible.
go into and
That
tell
would be
everything
terrible.
backwards with flashbacks. I mean,
No, because then you can't attach as well. Like you
yes and
you
no.
want
It
the
depends
audience
on
to
how you handle it. Because
you want the audience to suffer though with Joel, so that you
The
can make a
constant
connection
flashback
early.
thing has been overdone here recently.
yeah, but
Yeah,
that means
like-
it's
but-
trendy.
but I also think it's one of those where, like, with his
Great
relationship with
Brady
Ellie is based on what had happened to his daughter.
Relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like you have to tell that story
I
at the
just don't
beginning
see
and
them-
get them attached.
With them doing a Last of Us series, I don't see them spending, because you would need like 6-7 episodes to do that much build for that one, payoff
No,
of the
it's just
first
the
20 minutes
first
of the game.
episode where it's.
But
it's
you're
just the
asking
first
for a
episode where
lot
it's-
for an episode, though. Like, you're
But
asking
it's a
for Joel's
casual
whole
episode.
day, and then what happens to start this whole thing
It could
off,
be-
and then that whole scene afterwards.
It could be just a simple day. Joel goes to work. Things like you get into this lazy mindset where you're just like, okay, it's the first episode. It's casual. You know, you
Anybody
go through the day,
watching this,
something
like, if you
starts
read the
feeling
write-up
off,
and know
you get
that
to
it's
meet-
zombies, you know it's not going to be casual. Nobody's going to fall for that.
Well, people who don't know the series will, and that's the thing. It's a different medium. You're going for a different audience.
Well, we'll see
And-
whenever it
and
comes
as-
out, which is...
And
They're-
by the
they're
end
also
of the first
probably
episode, you're like,
not going to
Shit.
kill certain people off, like in the Walking Dead.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
if you read the Walking Dead comics versus the show, some people died earlier in one or not at all. And you're making Joel the main character that we're going to follow.
I mean, they could do 2 episodes with him and his daughter, just kind of lull you into this false sense of security where you get to meet them, you get to see how they interact with the world, and then shit goes down, and next thing you know,
It could be
stuff
where the
happens.
entire first season takes place in that world with him and his daughter, and then that's your end of it is literally when that 20-minute mark would normally hit us. Is there, or maybe it hits for like the mid-season finale type thought process, right? And then by the end of it, something else happens or whatever, and then season 2 starts the 20-something years later. And so then that kind of builds through. We might not have Ellie in the first entire season. That's a possibility as well.
I mean, I think that it's very, very difficult to find the right, because you've got Game of Thrones, who did the first whole season, and then they hit you in the face as hard as they can at the end, and you're just like in shock. Me and Griff just watched a series where they did it. They waited just a little too long to really get you. Like you started feeling the characters, and then they take a really sharp turn that almost didn't feel real, and then they continued through with it, and you just kind of. You don't feel shocked, you feel a little more upset because it feels like it wasn't done entirely right, and they kind of told
Well, it feels like they
story a
wasted
little
your
wrong.
time with some of it. It's like, please get to know these characters, and we have destroyed them in a dumb way that we've already put forth could have been reasoned through, most likely. But they're gone now, so let's move on with our romantic interests. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's
we
kind
actually
of one of
just
those
stopped
things where
watching the show for a little bit.
You've either gotta pull it fast or do a slow burn. Either burn it down or burn it slow. There's a very small window in which you can make something like that, like a shock to your system, work really well.
And I feel like they did it right in the game because it was pretty quick. It was like, here's your 20 minutes, and it hits you, and you're off to the races after that. So.
Right.
But it's also a game, which is a little bit different of a medium than a show.
Yeah,
like you
have to build that
characters.
For a regular television show or movie. You have to build that relationship before you can do it. So it's got to be at least 1 or 2 episodes in before you can do it, because you have to have attachment to the characters before you're going to accept that as a loss. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, okay, you know.
And because in the game, you definitely got attached to Joel after that because it hurt so bad. In a show, you want to build that attachment to both of them and then do it. So shows are a different medium, which we will see how this goes, because we've got a couple of years before we see it.
It doesn't even have any details on when.
Yeah, and I know HBO is definitely willing to just be like, money, have money, do what you got to do, money.
Well, Warner Brothers has got a lot of money, and they've with the Zack Snyder Justice League just came out and hit really, really big for them as well, with their numbers. So it's going to be to where it's. I think they're going to do fine for a while, for sure.
Yep.
Yes.
What else we got?
We'll see how it goes. I'm
Everyone
interested.
wanted to watch the Justice League train.
You guys want to talk about Payday? Payday 3 is now fully financed because reasons.
By guess who? THQ Nordic. Oh.
Well, it's a deal with Koch Media, but
which is part of THQ Nordic. Oh.
They own THQ. Right?
No, THQ is one of the main ones in part of the, I can't remember the name of the organization. God, I can't remember
now,
what it's
why
called.
didn't you Google this beforehand?
Right?
Because
Y'all are bad.
hold on.
I didn't know that Payday 2 had really done that much to warrant a third game. Because when it came out, it was a mess, right? And they had to fix it forever, and they were still having problems with it.
They still have a big player base because they have, when they started working more on their co-op, and working their way through it, a lot of people started playing it and got a popularity that way too. But the main thing on it, if you remember, they had the Walking Dead, Overkill's Walking Dead game that was absolutely atrocious, that I think got removed from every store ever. And then on top of it, they had they had that problem with one of their CEOs that was like fucking siphoning and stealing money and all whatever the hell it was that was going on as well, at the exact same time. So yeah, it's just
it's the Embracer Group. Remember we talked about that? After THQ Nordic started buying up all of these other companies, they eventually just created this overarching group called the Embracer Group, which consists of Amplifier Game Invest, Coffee Stain Holding, Deca Games, Easy Brain, Gearbox Entertainment, Koch Media, Saber Interactive, and THQ Nordic. And the reason why I say THQ Nordic, because they're the ones that built this Embracer Group. They're the ones who bought up these companies and eventually kind of, that's why it was more of a partnership with Gearbox, because they're like, hey, Gearbox, you need some money? Cool, well, here you go, we're partners now. And then they created the overarching group called Embracer Group, which is all of these companies with all of these smaller companies that they're working with.
Gotcha.
So Koch Media is just one of THQ Nordic's brothers or sisters company, whatever you want to call it. And they're the ones that started the family, shall I say.
Well, that means that eventually we'll see Payday 3, which apparently does have really huge player base. I just had no idea, because, I don't know, I guess it never makes news much.
It's just one of those, it's one of those games that, you know, people continue to play just because they enjoy the gameplay and stuff like that. Like No Pants and I've played it as well.
The gameplay is super fun.
Yeah, we've played it at some point, you know, the four of us, but it's been a while.
I mean, the game is fun.
We were just bad at it.
We never played it enough to get good.
Yeah. It was one of those, like, hey, we'll play it for a couple hours and then we're kind of done with it. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's a fun game for sure. A unique concept, to say the least.
Well, what other? We got a couple other things to talk about. Let's talk about the
A
Civilization.
quickie one. Yeah, that's actually the one I was going to. A little quickie one is Civilization 6. Is getting Portugal. Somehow they're getting zombies. That's new.
I
and
think
then a
that's
couple of
really
world
cool.
wonders. Yeah, and so basically the idea behind the zombies is the fact you have a zombie defense, and anybody's able to, if one of your soldiers goes down, is capable of coming back as a zombie, and then they attack the closest person that is non-zombie. So if that's the other guys, cool. If it's your guys, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how that works.
Yay.
For sure. My question is at some point are they just gonna have zombie armies? Like, what is gonna
Why not?
Hordes, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think they can also spawn up in your town, in your city too. So you've got to create traps or whatever to kind of keep them pushed out of your town. So it's interesting that they decided to go with that route for sure. We'll see. It's already out, I'm pretty sure. It's
I don't like the
New
fact that Sid
Frontier
Meier
Pass.
is thinking that's our future.
Yes, now
I know,
zombies
right? Oh,
are
no.
part of the future for us.
Well,
Great.
To be fair, at least we have Gandhi to nuke the zombies, so we're good. We're safe. It's all good.
That is
it's all
true.
accounted for.
True.
The issue with that is unless they're within a certain radius of the blast, the radiation's
whatever.
not going to do shit to them. They're
Gandhi's got more than enough nukes. If he misses one, he'll just drop another one on the zombies. That's what nukes do. They disintegrate things.
Basically, he just is going to annihilate the world. It'll be him alone that's left over. That's it.
Yep.
India's not even going to exist. Just going to be Gandhi and a bunch of nothing.
Nuclear wastelands. Welcome to Fallout.
There you go. That's how we get it.
That'll be the Civilization 7 Fallout.
We start marrying series for our future timeline. That's great. That's great.
Well, think about it. So what happens is 6 leads into 7, and 7 starts off with a nuclear fallout that's there, right? So now you have to start a brand new civilization, okay,
in the
in
wasteland.
a world that's radiated and everything else, this big wasteland, and then you have to build it back to the way you normally would.
I see.
Actually, technically, it would
instead
be.
of gold, you get bottle caps.
There you go. So Civilization plays out like this, and then you get to see in the eyes of a character, which is Fallout 4, and everybody, the nukes are going off, you hide in the bunker, everybody saves, and then you get to go to Civilization Beyond Earth, which you go to a different planet because yours is nuked, which is already a game, by the way. You go to a different planet.
Yes. I didn't care for that one.
That one was different, to say the least.
You had to deal with aliens on that one. It was weird.
Yes.
I hate that we saved two kind of negative things for the last two stories, but it is what it is. Here we are.
Yeah. Well, they're both about bad company.
Yeah. Riot Games investigated their CEO and found no evidence of misconduct. Well, we investigated ourselves and we said it's fine. It's cool. Like, oh, okay, that seems legit. I'm sure you did that to the very best of your investigative abilities.
No
Right.
need to get a police force involved or anything.
Yeah.
No need for an independent investigation. No need for that. We can do it ourselves. We know what we're looking for. We've seen it plenty, so we know what we're looking for.
Yeah, and they're like, since 2018,
okay.
we've revamped our internal investigation process and checked everything out. It's like, oh, okay. You're still policing yourself, though, and that works out so well. I mean, because it's not like it's in the best interest of yourself to find crimes inside your own company. Just saying.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Might cut back on lawsuits. Just saying.
Yeah.
Throwing it out there.
Just like, it kills me. We investigated ourselves and we found no evidence of ourselves doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does not sound good.
Yeah, we found no evidence of wrongdoing, so we don't feel that we need to have an external party look into it. Oh.
To be fair, it sounds pretty common nowadays.
Yeah, I
in
mean, it's
our
very
country.
corporate, you know? Yeah.
Pretty sure I heard that same thing for about 4 years, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, you did. And then, of course, to go hand in hand with that, you've got Activision Blizzard Bobby Kotick is in charge of that. They're looking at basically laying off a lot of people across Europe, but he's gonna get a couple $1 million worth of a bonus. Cause
it's more than a couple million.
well, it's
Well, I
millions.
mean,
It doesn't say
he's-
how many.
He-
200 million.
Those millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, he's already one of the richest people on the planet. Let's just go ahead and let him have a bonus while he fires half of his staff. Because that sounds...
but
he
don't
needs
worry.
to be number one in the rich area.
Don't worry about the workers. The affected workers will receive a minimum of 90 days of severance and health benefits for a year, and job transition support, which I mean is so crazy, and a $200 gift card.
Oh my god. Look at how
Not just
great
that,
this
for
company is.
BattleNet.
For BattleNet. You
wow.
could buy
That's
our
just
game.
rubbing
You
salt
can give
into
me
the
money
wound.
back.
We have
Oh
fired
my
you.
God.
Here's $200 to spend at our employee store, you know? Like,
Oh my god.
wow.
How to look shitty. How to look extra shitty. Here's
This.
$200. All right, now you can give that back to me when you buy my stuff.
You know, and I
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
say, like,
Unless they take it to one of those places you can sell gift cards at, and get like $20 for it.
oh, there you go.
That's fine. At least they can't get their money back, I guess. I don't fucking
I
know.
just, wow. Wow.
Sometimes
Some people have very
people
punchable faces,
just-
and this guy is one of those. Like, you just look at the headshot, and you're like, yeah, I could see somebody punching him in the face just for him being a smart-ass douchebag. Yeah, that seems accurate.
He looks like a guy that in the 80s was that guy that had like the sweater tied around his neck.
Yeah,
And
probably.
like, you know
Yes.
what I mean? You see what I mean?
Ah,
What
That
was-
typical jackass in
he had a girlfriend named Buffy. and,
Yuppie.
like-
That's what the slang term. Yuppie.
Yeah, they're
He
yuppies.
was a yuppie.
oh my
Took me
god.
forever to get to that through the old lexicon there. Gotta remember those 80s movies. Yeah,
Too funny.
He's got a punchable face. I gotta close the window. Just can't.
He's got a punchable face.
He does. There's there are certain people that you just see that in, you know? There are several of our Congress people that you could see that in. But I won't name names.
A couple of them from our state.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh, yeah.
can think of one from mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
won't
just
name
need to
names,
line
but
up
the
all
thing
people
is, we
with
probably don't
punchable-
have to. You just know.
Yeah, no, we just throw out our
If you're
state.
from the U.S., you just know.
Yeah, you just know which ones have the very punchable faces.
Yes.
God.
Oh, too funny. Anything else?
Oh, that's it.
I
Just
did want to
punchable
mention,
faces.
as far as my YouTube, because I know we'll, mention that in the wrap up and everything. I don't know what's going on with that right now. I just have so little time. Like, my choices for recording are Saturday or Sunday, and Saturday I'm about to start working on, and Sunday is usually after the podcast. I edit the podcast and then spend the rest of the evening mostly doing chores to get my child ready to go to daycare the next day. So I don't know what's going to happen with that right now. But it's okay. It's been pretty sporadic as it is anyway, and nobody seems to really be complaining, so I'm not super worried about it. It is what it
parent
is,
life.
though. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That's just how it is.
Oh, good. We appreciate everybody who hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slider.
Check out Chicken.
Idle Eat Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel. See, this is a good time to catch up while she's parenting. See, you go through and you catch up with all the stuff and things. Find a
Like
game that you
halfway
like,
through
that you
Skyrim.
enjoy. Listen to her laugh a little bit. She's got an infectious laugh. People, I promise, it's great. Because she didn't laugh often, so when she does, it's gonna
Look at
You
that.
gotta
She's
take what
laughing
you can
down.
get,
Good job.
alright?
It's right. Take it while you can. Before she ends up with Griftopia eventually, anyway. Maybe that's Civilization 7, Griftopia.
That's what we're leading up to. It's my zombies. Shh, don't tell.
Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313, where Chicken's currently playing through all of the Resident Evil games.
The 7 main titles, by the way, because trust me, folks, I know that there are a lot of offshoots, and we're just running through 0 through 7 right now.
The
We're
main
still
game.
on 0.
The main game.
You mean no Outbreak with weird multiplayer and going on online with like 3 other people?
No Outbreak, no Code Veronica, no Revelations, no Operation Raccoon City.
You don't have to name them all. We got it.
Okay. I'm just saying there's plenty of little offshoots. So.
But what
so
about
just through
the
main
ones
games,
on
that's
Game
good.
Boy?
No.
No, we're not going through those either. I have no idea how to stream those. Oh, I guess I could use an emulator, but let's skip that.
Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/MDBOaktree or glimish.tv/MDBOaktree, where every other day, pretty much, one or the other, just check out my Twitter and you'll see when I go live. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.